Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy D Wayne bringing you yet another YouTube video at this time. So basically what I'm going to be doing with you guys today is bring you my 10-way deck profile and discussion video. Now basically 10-way are, a new archetype slated to come out in Rising Rampage with further support coming out in the Chaos Impact pack. So, I've taken quite an interest in this archetype because they're worms, so worms are definitely another one of my favorite archetypes next to zombies and spellcasters. So. And this is also another synchro-ish type of deck along with link summoning and stuff, so that also piques my interest as well because I love this synchro summoning. So yeah, basically the overall aesthetics of the deck, it has a few things going on for it. So basically its first basic aesthetic is that it's sort of a protect the castle type of thing going on, because you obviously have the Link 3 here, which is a normal monster, and then you have the effect monsters that protect or have some sort of dealing with activations when you have a non-effect monster on the field. So each of these effect monsters covers a variety of different situations that you may come across throughout the course of any match you happen to be playing. So also we have our search power in Hollow of the Dragon Chakra, and we have our field spell that also serves as some form of protection for your 10-way normal monster Link monsters. So yeah, so let's basically go into the cards themselves, because they all have some really decent implications with the deck as a whole. Alright, so let's start off speaking with Tenyi Dragon Engine. So this is a level 7 worm. Oh, basically they all have the same effect to where if you control a non-effect monster, you can special summon these cards from your hand. So they all of the main deck monsters have that effect in common, so I'm not gonna read off those parts of the effects because they all have those in common, but they all have their unique effects which allow them to deal with a variety of situations that you may come across. So basically this one here, so let me take another step back. So they all have effects that special summon themselves from your hand when you control a non-effect monster, and they could also activate from the hand to have their unique effects activate when you control the non-effect monster. So basically what I'm going to be going over is their unique effects when you activate from the hand, the graveyard. So alright, so first off, back to the Angina. Its unique effect allows it, while it's in the hand or graveyard, to special summon another 10-gate monster from the deck, which is really good to allow you to have consistent plays and to be able to use them for link or synchro situations depending on what the situation holds for you. So this card is really good to special summon from the deck and continue your plays. So this one's unique effect allows you to send one card your opponent controls back to the hand. So yeah, target one card your opponent controls and return it to the hand. So yeah, so that's good when you're dealing with opposing extra deck monsters, just to put it back, and your opponent has to, reuse their resources to resummon the monster again, so on and so forth. Or if there are pesky spell and traps that are on the field, namely floodgates and stuff like that, you can use that to send it back to the hand, and they would have to reset it and go through the process all over again. So yeah, that's that. So this one's unique effect is when during the damage step, when your, I believe it's, during the end phase of the turn. Yeah, this one powers down your opponent's monsters for 1500 attack until the end phase of the turn. And obviously this can activate during the damage step since it's an attack altering effect, so this can be used during the damage step to power down your opponent's monsters during battle. So this card is really good as well. So this one's unique effect is that if your non-effect monster is targeted by a spell or trap effect, or best card, negate the activation, a card or effect that targets your non-effect monster, you can banish this from the hand to graveyard, negate the effect, and if you do, destroy it. which is really good to stop targeting effects. Sky Striker, Dark Magician, Magician Circle, and stuff like that is really good to stop. So yeah, so this one's really good as well. So when your face-up effect monster is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this to special summon one of those monsters that were destroyed by battle or card effect to the field. So get you your recursion and keeps your monsters on board, so you can continue to facilitate the effects of your other worm monsters. So this is really solid as well. And then we have the Tuner. Its unique effect is you can banish this card to return any of your banished Tenyi monsters back to the hand, so that you can reuse their effects again. So this is really good for recursion and being able to continue to set up for your plays. Next we have the Hollow of the Dragon Chakra, which is the deck's consistency card, which basically allows you to send one worm from your deck to the graveyard, and if you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can add one Tenyi monster from your deck to your hand, which is really good. So you can send Veshuda and then add a Stahana from your deck to your hand, or any combination of these you want to do, you can do with this card to set up different protection scenarios for whatever it is you happen to be facing. Alright, so that's that. So the field spell, if face-up non-effect monsters on the field are unaffected by monster effects. Once per turn, if your opponent special summons an effect monster while you control a non-effect monster, except during the damage step, you can draw 2 cards, which is really solid for giving you some more consistency and drawing into your 10 white cards so that you can use their effects, or you can draw into more consistency to set up for your plays, which is really solid as well. So your opponent is literally forced to have to deal with this, or it can get really out of hand depending on the situation. This is also some really good tech for Waterfall of the Dragon Souls, which has 2 different effects. You can activate this and add one more monster from your deck to your hand. Obviously all your Tenyis are worms, so you can add any one of them to set up for different plays. Or you can send any number of worm monsters from your hand or face up from the field to the graveyard. Draw cards equal to the number of monsters in your graveyard. Send to the graveyard times 1. Which is really good if you have this card and multiple Tenyis in your hand. You can send anywhere from 1, 2, 3, or whatever the case may be, and you can draw up to 3, maybe 4 cards tops, depending on the number of Tenyi monsters in your hand at the time of activating this card. So this card is really good for the deck as well. So yeah, also to kind of bolster the banishment, since you're banishing a lot, barrels of course, to put them back in the graveyard to be able to reuse their effects again, of course. And then we have our negation for them. So this is when a spell trap monster effect is activated, control the face-up non-effect monster, negate the activation. Basically, it doesn't negate it doesn't destroy the card. It would have been awesome if it did, but it just negates the activation, which could also help as well. And if the set card in your owner's control is destroyed by opponent's card effect, you can special summon one non-effect monster from your extra deck. So this could potentially be a shortcut into your Link 3. So you can essentially skip the whole process of Link climbing from Link 1 to 2 to 3 and stuff like that. So yeah, this card's really good for that extra bit of, being able to do 2 extra things aside from negating cards. And of course, Solid Strikes for extra negation to stop your opponent from doing so. Alright, so that is it for the main deck. Of course, you got Ashes and Veilers to also stop your opponent from doing stuff. So, being able to advance your game state while disrupting your opponent's game state is pretty much the name of the game at this point. So, you gotta have the means to do that. So, alright, let's go into the extra deck. You have the Tenyi Worms. The Link 1 is a normal monster, no effect to speak of. And then you have the Link 2, which is the Dragon Immortal. It requires 2 worm monsters, which is really good. We have our worms have their first Link 2 monster, which is really good. The effect states you can discard 1 card and target 1 worm monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Also, you cannot activate effects of monsters that were special summoned from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except Tenyi monsters. When an attack is declared involving a face-up non-effect monster, you can target involving your face-up non-effect monster. That's important. You can target one card your opponent controls destroy. You can only use each effect of Tenyi once per turn. So basically, while it's on the field, it can act as disruption when your opponent tries to attack your face-up effect monster, non-effect monster Tenyi links. But that would be kind of silly. Why would they even try to attack the non-effect monsters when they can just attack this? That's only 1600 attack, so it's really not that difficult to get over. But in the event it does happen, you are able to destroy a card your opponent controls. So. And discarding a card to special summon a worm from your graveyard is really good. So that kind of feeds into the whole link climate thing. So you can basically, what it does is you can special summon one of your Tenyis, link into this. Essentially, what you can do is, if you have this in the graveyard specifically, you can special summon this, link this off into this, then you can activate this effect in grave, banish this to special summon another Tenyi from your deck, and then link the link 1 into any Tenyi you happen to summon, then special summon your link 2. And then you also, if you happen to have another Tenyi in your hand or anything else, because it just says card, not monster, so you can discard a card to special summon something from the graveyard, and then you use those two to link into the link 3. So that's essentially how you would do your link climbing from there. Alright, so basically the synchro options. Let's talk about the synchro, of course. This is Dragon Ochre, Deity of Tenyi. This requires 1 tuner, 1 non-tuner monster. When your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can banish that monster. This attacking card destroys an effect monster by battle sent to the graveyard. This card gains attack equal to destroyed monster attack. Also, it can make a second attack on a monster during the battle phase. Each effect can be activated once per turn, of course. So this card is really good in sort of niche situations. Actually, this card can slightly hurt the mirror match because the Tenyi monsters activate in the hand to special summon themselves. So when that happens, this effect can activate to banish the monster that's activating this effect, and the effect won't resolve, of course, because it was banished at resolution, so the effect won't go off. So it has some slight advantages in the mirror match. Also, other effects that can banish that activate in hand as well. It doesn't stop hand traps because they activate as cost, so you can't really stop the effect from going off. And other random effects that activate in hand, or you can stop effects that activate in graveyard as well. Like this will hurt zombies, like Shiranui's, for example. Like if they activate Shiranui's Special Sword's effect to activate to banish a monster to synchro summon from the graveyard, you can use this effect to banish the other monster that Spectral Sword target, and the effect will essentially fizzle out because the target has disappeared to use for Spectral Sword's effect. So it has some decent implications for graveyard effects and for hand effects that activate in hand, of course. So, and its second effect, being able to attack twice after killing an effect monster, which is really good because the deck is specifically catered for your non-effects to have an advantage against effect monsters, and also having the effect monsters have effects that'll give them an advantage against other effect monsters as well. So it's kind of weird but interesting at the same time. It probably would have been cooler if they were all non-effect monsters. It would have lent some more credence to the overall aesthetic of the deck. But it's only 1 and 2 cards that will affect the monsters that are essentially stay on the field and stuff. But the thing that's most important to understand about this is that for some of the cards, the effects can still activate because they're specifically stating that if you control a non-effect monster, meaning if you have other effect monsters on the field, these effects that specifically state that will still be able to activate. Alright? So that's something important I need you guys to realize when thinking about whether or not you want to play this deck and the implications surrounding it. Alright, and then we obviously have other synchro options, because this deck can synchro as well, because you know we have tuners and Ghost Ash, Veiler, and the Adura, which is also a tuner. So we have Omega, we have Boxia, which gets its effects from the attributes of worm type monsters used to summon this card. So you can still shuffle cards into the field from the field, even if you're not using Yang Zings to summon this card. Yazzie, of course, is amazing in the Sky Striker matchup because it cannot be targeted. And in the case you're using actual Yang Zings to summon this, just having it unaffected by spells with an extra 500 attack off of Jiaotu's effect using Pull Out and Swanee, giving it 3100 attack unaffected by spells, and this card can't be targeted, which makes it an absolute killer in the Sky Striker matchup. They cannot touch this card. Alright, and then we have Omega, we have Barrow Savage Dragon to help with some negation when your links are in a graveyard, of course, because it equips the links to it, gains power counters, and can negate cards on the field. Then we have BLs, which you actually don't need, so I can actually take the list out, because I don't have any dark tuners in this deck, so I can just put a second copy of Boxia in here, so since why not? Boxia is more effective than BLs in this deck anyway. So yeah, we have I could take Chao Feng out as well. We don't really need it. So yeah, so that is basically it for the 10-way monsters and the deck in itself. It's really an interesting deck. I like the aesthetics of what it got going on, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing it. So as always, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments of this archetype. I always want to know what you guys are thinking about the videos that I put out. Alright, so I will leave that at that. So I'll be bringing you guys more videos in the meantime, but until then, peace, YouTube.